یو وایز اپ چطوری بچه‌ها؟ من محمد تکسار هستم و خیلی خوش اومدید به یه بازی به اسم استنلی پارابل. بچه‌ها استنلی پارابل احتمالاً دیدین همتون، یعنی یا اسمش شنیدین یا بازی کردین. یه بازی رمزآلوده که سال 2015 هم فکر می‌کنم این بازی اومده. بازی خیلی عجیب غریبه، در واقع یه کارمنده که حالا مثل اینکه توی محل کارش گیر میکنه از این حرفا. من خودم هنوز بازی نکردم، قراره که بریم با هم بازی بکنیم. و نکته جالبی که من بازی باز کردم دیدم این همین قسمت منوی اول اصلی بازی بود که شما اینجا داریم می‌بینید و تو مانیتور دوباره داریم منو رو می‌بینید و تو مانیتور بعدی داریم همینجوری به قول معروف داره تکرار میشه این صحنه. خیلی جالبه این داستان و مثل اینکه 19 تا هم پایان داره که ما فکر نکنم، یعنی مطمئنا ما تو این 19 تا پایان تو این یه پارت نمیتونیم بریم. حالا اگر پارت دیگه هم خواستیم باز تو کامنت ها بنویسید و قبل از اینکه بازی رو شروع بکنیم حتما یادتون نره کانال رو سابسکرایب بکنید، ویدیو رو لایک بکنید و واسه دوستانتون شیر بکنید. پس بریم بازی شروع کنیم. Let's do this. Begin the game. Ever the end is never the end. What the loading?
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
این یه داستان از مردی به اسم
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him how long to push them and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of
این کار رو داره هر روز این
and
امپلوی
although others might have considered
کارمند
it
407 داره انجام
so,
میده
Stanley
هر روز و
relished
هر
every
ماه.
moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
استنلی هم خوشحال بود از اینکه به کار تکراری
And then
انجام
one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
و یه چیز جالبی که بهتون بگم اینه که کم سنس بازی زیاده. یه چیز جالبی که بهتون بگم سنس نداره داش. کنار سنس هم اول بازی. یه چیز جالبی که بهتون الان بهتر شد. یه چیز جالبی که بهتون بگم این راویه که داره صحبت میکنه حالتی صحبت میکنه که انگار بهتون نخ میده. یعنی اینکه مثلا استنلی پاشو از آفیسش گذاشت بیرون، یعنی داره میگه تو باید این کارو بکنی. البته اینجوریه. به هر حال همین تو آفیس میتونیم کار بکنیم. ساعت 11:20 اینجا مثلا این کاری هم نمیشه کرد. از آفیس بیرون برام که باز نمیشه. 429 یا اتاق 407 که اتاق خود استنلیه.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
میگه که تمام همکاراش ناپدید شده بودن و استنلی تصمیم گرفته که بره تو اتاق در واقع کنفرانس. اگر اشتباه نکنم واقعا هم هیچ کس نیست. چه نوشته اینجا زوم نمیشه؟ آها میشینی اینجوری. خب چی نوشته رو دیوانه؟ بی مای والنتاین. اوکی خب I hate Mondays. اوکی oh. What? الو بازی خراب شد. What just happened? No.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure.
Wow.
What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me.
میگه که
In here I can be happy
نتونست فشار تحمل
forever.
کنه
I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed.
و نتونست
Then
تحمل
days.
کنه و
Had years gone
تصمیم گرفت که
by?
وایسه.
He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive.
میگه که
Soon, very soon now, this will
اگر
end.
وایسه
He will be
سالی میگه
spoken
که اگر
to. He
وایسه
will be
خودش
told what to
جواب
do.
میاد سراغم
Now it's
و
just
خودشون
a
یه روزی
little
میان
bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
What? What the fuck? What? What just happened? اینجا که همونه
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
بازی تکرار
Stanley
شد
decided to go to the meeting room.
در
Perhaps
باز
he had simply
کردم
missed
یه
the memo.
یکی از اندینگاش فکر کنم همینجا بود همین اوضاع 416 بود که زدم و خب What the fuck is going on here?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
دیدی راویه گفت که استنلی وقتی وارد این اتاق شد و 2 تا در جلوی خودش دید تصمیم گرفت که بره سمت اتاق چپی یعنی ما میتونیم به حرفش گوش بکنیم یا میتونیم بهش گوش نکنیم من میگم بهش گوش بکنیم بریم سمت اتاق چپی اوکی
Yet there was not a single person here either.
توی این اتاق
Feeling a
هم که
wave of
فکر می‌کرد اینجا
disbelief,
باشم همراهش
Stanley
کسی
decided to
نیست
go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
این که تصمیم گرفت که بره اتاق رئیسش که طبقه بالاست و ببینه اونجا چه خبره
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Okay.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
خودش
office.
داره بهت میگه که حالا من میتونم برم به پایین و به حرفش گوش ندم یا میتونم برم بالا و حرفش گوش بدم برم بالا برم اتاق رئیس. از جایی که به حرفش گوش دادم من نرمز دادم. جایی که به حرفش گوش دادم تصمیم گرفتم که باز نمیشه برم تو اتاق رئیس ببینم اتاق رئیس چه خبره. واو. Look at that. Security bathroom اوکی. دستشوییه اینم اتاق یعنی اینم بعد جای منشیش باشه که کسی نیست اتاق رئیس کدوم آن؟
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
What is going on? Okay. خودش اون کد داد و گفت که استنلی خودش مثلا رندوم دکمه ها رو زد و درست زد. اینجا هیچی نیست. چه سوره. پایین الان اوکی. Loading.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
یه تایمی پیدا کرد که فکر کنه که کارش چیه و این چه کاریه که من سالها دارم انجام میدم و تا الان بهش فکر نکرده بودم.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
کنترل در واقع فسیلیتی میشه سازمان یا مثلا یه جای زیرزمینی که توش کارهای مثلا نظامی و این چیزا شاید کارهای اینجوری انجام میدن. مایند کنترل فسیلیتی میشه ذهن کنترل ذهن. اونورم یه جای دیگه ای بود. اسکیپ فرار. مایند کنترل فسیلیتی. این گفت استنلی تصمیم گرفت که بره تو مایند کنترل. من گفتمش گوش بدم چی؟ چقدر بازی عجب غریبیه واقعا.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
که چه چیزی عجب غریبی داره اتفاق میفته و میتونه اون قدرتشو داره که پی ببره که چیه. What the fuck is going on آجی واقعا.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed.
Wow.
Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
آجی این کد همه ماست. 427. نها اتاق منه. این جایی که در واقع یکی هم که اخراج شده employee fired، یکی از اینجا هم یکی دیگه اخراج شده. آجی این تمام دوربین توی تمام دفتر این در واقع کارمندای این شرکت اشون داشتن کنترل میشدن. باز نمیشه این در آجی.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe it couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
بخاطر همین بوده که خوشحال بوده. آجی واقعا چیز ترسناکیه. موی تن آدم سیخ میشه.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
مان کنترل اینجا که زاده که آفلاینه اون برام یه جای دیگه هست. Mind controls idle awaiting input. که mind control بیکاره منتظر دستوره. System power.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
در واقع وظیفشه که همچین چیزی رو خاموش بکنه. و جالبه میگم از اول گیم این راویه داره به ما دستور میده که چیکار کن چیکار نکن. من چه تمام شد.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
آیا تمام شده بود؟
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley
خوشحال بود که مثلا نجات پیدا کرد و زندگی جدید شروع کرد و حرفا. بازی فکر کنم الان یه پایانش ما رفتیم همین الان. Ever the end is never end. Never the end is never. اوکی بازی دور شروع شد. واو حاجی واقعا واسه غریبه. این دفعه میخوام دوباره بازی برم اما به حرف این یارو گوش نکنم.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
دیالوگا رو تکرار میکنه. اوکی.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
میگه شاید میخواد بره جای دیگه وایسه، داره همینجوری میگه نه این جایی نبود که تو باید میرفتی، این راه درست نیست، باید میرفتی چپ.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
که استنلی وایساد همینجا جای نرفته یه چیزی خورد، درسته که من میرم.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
که استنلی میره اتاق سمت چپ، یعنی در واقع برمیگرده سر جاش. مرده داره همینجوری راهی که در واقع اون داره ما رو کنترل میکنه. ولی ما همش گوش نمیدیم.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
که استنلی داخل توی در واقع دنبال کردن دستور خیلی ضعیف عمل کرد. متعجبم که چجوری اخراج نشده تا حالا. Do not jump from the cargo. Okay.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
که من دشمنت نیستم، چون برفروش نمی‌کنم، یه بار دشمنت نیستم. میدونم سخت اعتماد کردن به کسی.
Stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
میگه که
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
She's منظورش میکنم زنش. She's been waiting منظورش کیه؟ سیاه چقدر. What?
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone. As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone? No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack." Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Okay.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
بیا این راهو بیا. اون ویدیو رو واسمون گذاشت که در واقع ما رو مجبور بکنه که راهی که این میگی رو بریم.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Okay. نمی‌تونه کاش میتونستم بپرم. کارت میخوام. What just happened? اوکی ما رو برگردون سر جام. گفت که حالا که این ویدیو رو دیدی ببینیم درست شده یا نشده.
You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
که حالا که برگشتیم سر جامون برو اتاق سمت چپ رو بگیر و
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
What the fuck? چرا غریبه؟ چرا همچی برعکس شده؟ واو حاجی what the fuck is going on حاجی من نمیخوام نگاه برم اوکی بیاریم لفت ولی از پله این دفعه نریم بالا از پله بریم پایین
It's ruined. I can't believe after everything we talked about that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What do you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever. Reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know.
جواب چیه؟
What do I do? What do I do?
بزنم کل گیم رو خاموش کنم؟ چیکار کنم؟
No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to.
باید گیم رو خاموش کنم.
I have to.
باید. Okay. Wow, what?
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see. Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make...
Okay.
...behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
حاجی بیا بریم این دفعه چپ ولی از پله جایی که بریم بالا بریم پایین. Okay.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
نمیشه رفت پایین و این دیگه این در باز نمیشه. حاجی. What?
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Please speak clearly to the receiver. Night Shark 115?
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Night Shark 115.
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
این یه استپ مهمه یه قدم مهمه. Okay.
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward.
حرف بزن ترسو.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
واجی بی خیال. چه خبر تو این گیم؟
Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice.
The end?
I need you to walk through the door.
Stanley Parable.
Are you listening to me? Can you hear me?
Ending?
Is everything all right?
What the fuck is
Stanley,
that?
this is important.
هنوز کلی راه داره که ما بریم یعنی این یه اندینگ دیگه‌اش بود. واو.
Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please.
استنلی همینجا خشک زده میگه لطفاً حرکت کن. هر جایی بری درسته. یه کاری انجام بده فقط.
This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it.
Okay.
You hear me? Are you there? You listening to this?
واقعا عجب گیم عجیب غریبیه این گیم. خیلی جالب بود گیمش. و اینکه اینم بازی استنلی پارابل. امیدوارم که خوشتون اومده باشه. حتما اگر ویدیو خوشتون اومد لایک بکنید، کانال رو سابسکرایب بکنید. اگر دوست دارید اندینگ های دیگه هم بریم حتما تو کامنت ها بنویسید که میریم. حتما 19 تا اندینگ داره. حالا ما 2 تا 3 تاشو اندینگ فکر کنم 2-3 تاشو بیشتر نرفتیم. به هر حال خیلی ممنونم که تو اینجا ویدیو با ما همراه بودید. ویدیو رو تماشا کردین. تا ویدیوهای دیگه میبینم تو. مراقب خودتون باشین. پیس اوت.